Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to discuss about the last topic of solutions chapter, that is about the reverse osmosis and a special important case of abnormal molar masses. So first we'll discuss about reverse osmosis. So we know what is osmosis, right? So what is osmosis means? It is a process where the solid molecules move from a region of lower concentration to high concentration of a solution. So that is, if we are separating a pure solvent and a solution of the same solvent with semi-permeable membrane which has a higher concentration in case of the solution, the solvent particles present on the solvent side pass through the semi-permeable membrane and enters the high concentration region of the solution in order to make and obtain an equilibrium state where the concentration of solvent on both sides are same. Okay. So what we can do here is, in certain process we don't want to carry out this osmosis process. Like for example, in case of desalination of seawater, what happens here is, if we take a tub full of seawater, we have salts, ions and electrolytes dissolved in a particular seawater, and what we have to do here is we need to remove the solvent particle. Okay, in that particular type of cases, what we can do is we use a process called reverse osmosis. That is, reverse osmosis is a process where we apply pressure on the solution in such a manner that the solvent particle present in the solution are passed through the semi-permeable membrane and are separated, which leaves behind the solute particles in the container itself. Now let us consider this is a closed container. Okay, let us consider this is a closed container which has a pressure allowance on the other side. Okay, this is a side tube and it is connected through a semi-permeable membrane to an empty container such as like this. Okay, so it is connected to a semi-permeable membrane like this, which is open in this case. So what happens here is we have electrolytes and complete seawater filled in this container on the right hand side, and once we apply pressure here, so once we apply pressure on this side, so once we apply pressure on the salt water container, what happens is the solvent particles which are allowed to pass through the semi-permeable membrane, okay, the solvent particles which are allowed to pass through the semi-permeable membrane passes through them and will be collected on the different container, leaving behind the solute particles on this container. Okay, so this process where we apply pressure on the solutions in order to stop osmosis, then it will be called the stopping of osmosis, osmotic pressure. What happens here is, when you apply pressure more than that of the osmotic pressure, when you apply pressure more than that of the osmotic pressure, the solvent particles which are present in the solution are moved towards the other container through a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so what is reverse osmosis then? A reverse osmosis is a process where the solvent molecules move from high concentration region to low concentration region. A process where the solvent particles move from high concentration region to low concentration region on applying external pressure which is greater than that of the osmotic pressure of the solution. Then that particular process is called reverse osmosis. Remember, for reverse osmosis to occur, the osmotic pressure for reverse osmosis should always be greater than the osmotic pressure. So reverse osmotic pressure should always be greater than the osmotic pressure of the solvent in order to carry out the reverse osmosis. So this is useful for a process where we can desalinate the seawater. Okay, in order to remove water content from the salt water or the seawater, we can use this reverse osmosis process. Okay, so next we'll discuss about abnormal molar masses. What is abnormal molar mass? For this instance, let us consider two types of solution. One we have 1 mole of potassium chloride, where we have 1 mole of potassium chloride dissolved in water. On the other side, we have 1 mole of ethanoic acid. We have 1 mole of ethanoic acid dissolved in benzene. Okay, this is dissolved in benzene and this is dissolved in water. Okay, so now what happens here in these two cases? In the first condition of 1 molar potassium chloride dissolved in water, potassium chloride dissociates to form K plus and Cl minus. So if you write down the reaction, KCl dissociates in equilibrium to form K plus and Cl minus ions. Okay. So now if you observe here, we have 1 mole of potassium chloride which is giving us 1 mole of potassium and 1 mole of chlorine. We have 1 mole of potassium chloride dissociating to give 1 mole of potassium ion and 1 mole of chloride ion. So therefore the increase in molarity is 2. So it is from 1 to 2. So total number of moles will be 2 on the right hand side. In the case of ethanoic acid, when we use 1 mole, when we use CH3COOH, what happens here is CH3COOH gets in dimerization at equilibrium. CH3COOH when dissolved in taken in benzene undergoes dimerization through hydrogen bonding such as like this CH3 C double bond O OH, and on the other side CH3 C double bond O OH. So there arises a hydrogen bonding where the complete ethanoic acid dimerizes. That is, CH3COOH will be now considered as dimolecule CH3COOH twice. That means if you use 2 molecules of CH3COOH, if you use 2 moles of ethanoic acid, we get only 1 molecule of dimer of ethanoic acid in benzene. So if you observe these two reactions, we clearly have a complication here. On the one side, when we dissolve 1 mole of a solvent, we get 2 moles of particles. 1 mole of solute is giving us 2 moles of particles. Okay, it is giving 2 moles of particles. On the other side, we are using 2 moles of solute. We are using 2 moles of solute and we are getting 1 mole of particle, right? We are getting 1 mole of particle. So these two processes are respectively called as dissociation and association. These two processes are called as dissociation and association. So what is this dissociation and association has to do with abnormal molar masses? What we observe here is, whenever you calculate the molar mass of a substance, whenever you calculate molar mass of a solute with respect to a depression in freezing point or elevation in freezing point or relative lowering of vapor pressure or in case of osmotic pressure. In general, what we can say is, whenever you calculate the molar mass of a solute using one of the colligative property, what happens here is we observe certain variation in the expected molar mass and the calculated molar mass. Whenever we carry out certain process, like for example depression in the freezing point or elevation in boiling point, a certain types of colligative property, and use those particular values to determine the molar mass of solute, we come across the abnormality in the molar mass when compared to its respective exact molar mass. Therefore, this type of abnormality is called as the abnormal molar masses obtained. Okay, so whenever you obtain either higher or lower value of the molar mass with respect to the exact molar mass, okay, whenever you obtain different molar masses then compared to its exact molar mass, either by obtaining them by colligative properties, then that type of molar mass is called as abnormal molar mass. So what happens here is, if you are considering for an association process, here the molar mass will be less than that of the original value. Molar mass will be greater than that of the original value because we are obtaining dimer. Okay, since we are obtaining a dimer, what we observe here is we have 1 mole of ethanoic acid. 1 mole of ethanoic acid molecular mass will be set around 78, let us say 56, 76, something like that. But actually what will be the calculations mass will be double of that because we have a dimer here. Okay, in case of this, the abnormality will be less because we know we have to form 2 molecules but we only get 1 molar mass. So this, how can we understand this is by using a particular example. Let us say we will take a problem. So observe in this observe this component. So in this experiment, let us say this, in this question they have given us we are dissolving 2 grams of benzoic acid in 25 grams of benzene, the depression in freezing point will be delta TF of 1.62 and the constant is 4.9 Kelvin kg per mole. So now if you calculate the molar mass of this solute of benzoic acid using the constants which we have obtained here, that is Kf will be, formula will be Kf into W2 into 1000 divided by delta TF into W1, right? So this will be the formula. And substituting, we get 4.9 into 1000 into W2 is 2 grams, 4 divided by 25 into 1.62. Okay, so once you solve this, you get a value of molecular mass of 241.98 grams per mole. So the molar mass of benzoic acid obtained here is 241.98 grams per mole. Okay, so this is the molar mass obtained when you are using a colligative property of depression in freezing point. Now if we calculate the molecular formula of benzoic acid, that is C6H5COOH, so this will be 6 into 12 plus 5 into 1 plus again 12 plus 2 into 16 plus 1. Okay, so C6H5COOH. So on adding all this, we'll get 122 gram. On adding all this value, we get the molecular mass of C6H5OH is 122 grams. So clearly, if you observe here, whenever you are calculating a molecular mass of a compound using colligative property, we are observing a variation. Okay, so in this case of this process of benzoic acid, what happens here is the C6H5COOH, C6H5C double bond O, OH dimerizases. The C6H5COOH dimerizases to form get dimerized to form such as a compound like this. Okay, C6H5. So since this type of dimer is formed, the molecular mass will be double. Okay, so this is 122 and this will be of 122. That will should almost be 244. Since there is just hydrogen bonding, we might ignore one of the hydrogen atom. So this results in what happens here is, whenever you take a very low dielectric constant solvent, whenever you consider a solvent such as benzene, which has a very less dielectric constant, and then what we observe is there will be certain change in the molar mass of expected value and the actual value. So clearly in this case, we are supposed to get 122 gram as the molar mass of benzoic acid. What we are getting instead is 241.98 grams. So clearly there is an abnormality in the calculation. So this type of factors is called as abnormal molar mass. So therefore, scientist named Van 't Hoff gave an expression which is called as the abnormality factor. He gave an expression for abnormality calculation that is denoted by the symbol I, which is called Van 't Hoff's factor for abnormal molar masses, or abnormality factor I, which is given as I is equal to actual molar mass. I is calculated as actual molar mass divided by calculated molar mass. Calculated molar mass obtained by colligative property. Obtained by any one of the colligative property. Okay, so I, that is the Van 't Hoff factor, is defined as I is equal to actual molar mass divided by calculated molar mass of a colligative property. So if you observe here, what happens here is we have two types of process. One is an association process and one is a dissociation process. Therefore, for process of association, what we observe in this benzoic acid itself, the calculated molar mass is higher than the actual molar mass, right? For association type of process, the Van 't Hoff factor I will always be less than 1. That is because the calculated molar mass will always be greater than that of the actual molar mass. Okay, the calculated molar mass will always be greater than the actual molar mass. Therefore, if you divide these two, you will always get I less than 1 for association process. And for dissociation process, what we observe is the calculated molar mass will be less when compared to the actual molar mass. Therefore, in case of dissociation process, the Van 't Hoff factor I will be greater than 1. The Van 't Hoff factor I will be greater than 1. So that is nothing but whenever you calculate colligative property, what happens here is if you are getting a dimer, what happens here is the compound will be of molecular concentration x by 2. Okay, delta TF depends upon the molecularity. If x molar number of moles is x by 2, that means once the dimer is formed, delta TF becomes half, right? Delta TF is directly proportional to x. Since if x is x by 2, then delta TF will be delta TF by 2. Okay, understanding here, if you consider delta TF, what happens here is delta TF is directly proportional to the molar concentration of solute. If the molar concentration of solute is half, that is it is decreased to half, in this case what happens here is delta TF will also be reduced to half. Okay, if delta TF is reduced to half, what we know is molar mass of solute is inversely proportional to delta TF, right? Molar mass of solute is inversely proportional to delta TF. Therefore, what we observe is with decrease in delta TF, molar mass increases. If this is half of its initial value, then molar mass will be double of its initial value. Okay, if delta TF is half of its actual value, molar mass will be double of its initial exact value. Since in case C6H5, so that is 2 moles of C6H5COOH gives us only 1 mole of C6H5COOH dimer. So clearly the molar mass, the molar fraction is from 2 to 1. It is reduced to half of its value. So therefore delta TF reduced to half of its delta TF. Okay, so delta TF will be reduced to its half. If delta TF is reduced to half, M2 will be doubled. Okay, M2 will be 2 times. Okay, this is for association process. In case of dissociation, what we observe is 1 mole of compound gives 2 moles. 1 mole of compound gives 2 moles of product. Therefore, delta TF or delta TB increases with 2 times. Delta TF will be double. If delta TF is double, M2 will be reduced to 1 by 2. M2 will be reduced to 1 by 2. So this is about the abnormal molar masses. So abnormal molar masses are nothing but the variation in molar mass obtained by the colligative property and the actual molar mass of the given compound. So this is all about for the chapter of solutions. If you have any doubt regarding the concepts which I have explained here, please do comment down below, and you can comment and mail those doubts to me in my mail ID which I have provided in the description box. And if you have understood the concepts, please do subscribe to my channel and share this video among your friends. And thank you for watching.